Hello, friends. I hope I am properly in frame. In today's video, I'm going to share with you how I view the court cards of tarot. I don't think I've ever shared this. And, okay, so here's the thing. I'm going to share with you how I view them, how, how they, what they communicate to me in a reading, whether it's the reading is, doesn't matter what kind of reading it is. Okay. Never mind. I don't need to explain. Doesn't matter what kind of reading. I don't care what kind of reader you are. I think this is applicable to any kind of reading or any type of reader. Mine is never the definitive on anything. I'm always learning. I'm always trying out new things. I just wanted to share with you how I view them. Perhaps it'll be an additive to how you already manage the court cards in a tarot reading. It may be completely new to you. It may not. You know what I mean? It's what it is. But the thing I want to stress here is that I'm sharing with you my views, my experiences, and again, I can't stress this enough. It is not the definitive way of viewing the court cards. I just find that this is the one question I get the most from people that reach out to me and ask me anything about tarot. And so I decided to finally sit down today and go over this. Okay. So let's start with the fact that the court cards, in the way I read, can be both concepts or actual people, existing people. I'm not going to, well, you'll see, I'm not going to discuss astrological, what do you call it? Descriptors for the court cards. This is just going to be stripped right back to when I see a court card, what I see, what it makes me think of, both from experience and, well, yeah, mainly from experience. Never mind. It's all experience, people. It's all experiential. I'm going to add this to my experiential meaning of the cards playlist because this is what it is. Back in the olden days, when yours truly was learning to read cards, I started out with playing cards. And I read playing cards for 10 years before I found out there was such a thing as tarot. And when I was learning tarot, there was no YouTube. I had some books, but they were just dry, boring. And you know what? My opinion has not changed about that. Except for I have some exceptions. I do have some exceptions to that rule, but I'm not going to discuss them here. So I'm going to try to keep this not too wordy. I'm going to try not to go on a tangent. I'll do my best, guys, okay? I'll do my best. And please feel welcome in the comments below to add your comments, like what you think and how you experience these. So first I'm going to start with, I have my little note paper here. I'm going to start with how I approach these. So I have the court cards set up here. Although I'm not discussing astrology, because I'm not an expert in astrology. Literally, I know enough astrology to get by. I'm not an astrologer, so I don't think it's fair for me to discuss astrology. but I will discuss elements because everything in my life is very elemental. My magical practice is rooted in the elements. My divination is rooted in the elements. My spirituality is rooted in the elements. So I will bring up the elements. Elements. Oh my God. Okay, let's start with the pages. When I see a page to me represents approaching or exploring. It's book learning. And then I will look at the suit of the page and see if it's fire, water, air, or earth. Simple as that. For the nights, you take this. So if you're reading for yourself and you get a lot of pages in your reading, it means that you're in a learning stage of whatever it is that you're reading. You're doing a reading on. It's in its gathering information stage. So I always view pages as gathering information, gathering data. The nights, whether they're fire, water, air, or earth, is when you've gathered the information and now you're going to apply. So if you're reading for yourself and you're learning something in your life, like if you're asking whether it's about your career, whether it's about your magical practice, if you're getting a lot of nights in your reading, you see a night in the reading, whatever the context of your reading is, this is telling you that it's time to put what you've learned into practice. Action, doing. This is information gathering, learning, apprenticeship. This is practicum. This is putting your knowledge into practice. And the reason why nights for me are exciting is that, with the nights in a reading, oh my God, sorry people, I'm fidgeting with the cards. Okay, I'll stop. With the nights, you're putting what you're learning into practice, and this is where you have to be open to make mistakes. So if you're reading for yourself or for someone else and the night comes up in that question, it means that, you know what? You have to stop navel gazing and just do it. Just do it. And you'll only know by doing. We learn by doing. This is information gathering. This is learning by doing, putting into practice what you learned. So once you've put into practice what you've learned, it's time to evaluate and analyze. So this information, what I learned, and I have applied it. Did it work out? Did it not work out? Could I have done it differently? Have I made mistakes? Queens are the introspection. Hang on, I got my notes. Queens are, for me, introspection and evaluation on the knowledge you applied, so the knowledge you learned that you applied, and what are your feelings about it? This is where, okay, so you learned, I'll give the example of book learning. So you learned something from a book, and then you applied what you learned. And when you get to the queen analyzes and thinks on, did that work out? Did that not work out? Why didn't it work out? What's my gut telling me? What's my intuition telling me? What do I feel that what I learned applied well? Do I feel that what I learned could be applied differently? So when you're getting the queen in any kind of question that you're asking from the tarot, the queen is asking you, well, what do you think? Did it work out? Do you like um, how it turned out? Do you feel good about how it turned out? Do you feel good about how it's going? How it's to check in on your feelings. And the reason, the reason I have all the core cards out is because, okay, do you feel it through fire? So, okay, does it excite you? Are you passionate? Do you feel inspired by by the knowledge and the practical application of it and how it worked out? Or did it completely fuck up and now you're inspired to go back to the night and attempt it a different way? So for me, the Knight and the Queen are the two that really interact the most in a tarot reading. You're doing a reading for yourself or for someone else, and you see Knight and Queen, and there's a give and take there. There's a practical application of it. There's, braving the world and doing it. And the Queen says, okay, well, how did that turn out? And then finally, I'm sorry, I think I was stepped too far away from the mic. Finally, we come to the Kings. The Kings embody mastery. The King is where you integrate what you've learned, tried out, analyzed, evaluated, gone back, tried out something else, maybe gone back, learned more, done more research, try it out again. Yeah, okay, I feel good about this. Now going forward, this is what I do. And then it's an interplay, it's a conversation, it's constantly. That's why, like in readings, when you get like court cards, you have to stop and think, because the court cards can be actual people in your life. And if they're people in your life, then I'm going to go through the court cards of people in your life, or people involved in the, real human people involved for this conversation here. Pages are always young or inexperienced. So when I say always, notice I said young or inexperienced. Well, they're not always young, are they? Because, you could be my age and be inexperienced at something. And the page is the student, the apprentice. So anything you're trying out new and you see the page come up, it's because it's new to you. And the personality types, if it's a person you're asking about, or if this is something that comes with practice. When you're reading for yourself or for people, you can, with practice, you can pick up pretty quick if it's just a person that's involved in the reading, like someone who's not there. And this is why, disclaimer, not that I need to put in a disclaimer, but you guys know that I'm like an old-fashioned cartomancer, right? I read exactly what is presented to me, and if there's other people in the reading, this lingo of third-party readings and stuff like that, cartomancy has its roots in people wanting to know what other people are thinking and doing. So let's leave it at that. Pages, the apprentice, the student, the novice, at any stage in your life, you can be the page. The Knight. The Knight is action. The Knight is putting things to the test. It is going out and doing the things. And that could be applied to anybody as well. The Queen, same thing. Also, I don't know if, for me, it's not a new thing. When I was taught to read cards, and then when I read for other people, I didn't feel ever that cards were specifically male or female, because I was taught that it had to do with stages of development and stages of life or stages of action. So I could be the Knight of Pentacles in this, in the reading that I'm doing. And the Knight of Pentacles would tell me that, okay, well, I need to apply whatever it is that I'm asking. I need to apply it in the physical world. It's got to be a physical action. I have to, if I'll use magic as an example, because, I just like using magic as an example. It's telling me that I actually need to physically cast the spell. If it's the Knight of Rods, it's telling me that I have to actually do it on an inspirational level, or do it on a fiery level, or do it on the spirit communication level. Make contact with the spirit. So this is learn, make, do. And then the Queen of Rods, sorry, not the Queen of Rods, but the Queens is evaluating, right? Okay. So stages of life, what it could be. This is someone who's the novice. This is someone who is in a mundane reading, because, if you're just, sometimes, to be honest, we're like human beings. We're living a human life, and things are mundane. And I really shy away from not reading on the mundane, because most of the time it's the mundane that the cards want to talk about, right? Because our lives are mundane. This is the person taking action. You taking action, the taking of action. This is someone who is trained and now taking that training into the world and doing it. An example from my life would be, this is the nursing student, and this is the nursing student on practicum. And this is the nursing student that has graduated, but is new and still doesn't, they have the knowledge, they have the practicum, but they don't have the experience yet. So at this point, this is, the Queen is the stage of life where you have a certain foundation of knowledge, you have a certain foundation of experience, and now you have this beautiful soup of learning and practical experience that simmers, and that's where you get experience. So the Queen is the part of your life where you're gaining experience, because you're applying knowledge, you're applying your practice. Then you go back, you research some more, you learn some more, and then you do it differently, and then you gain experience from this all over again, new experiences. The Queens, I find, are I find the Queens in the tarot to be the most interesting, because they are that soup. Okay, I use soup as the example. They are that soup, that ragu of experience. The experience is simmering the knowledge and the practice. The kings are mastery. The kings always, in my experience, have meant that this is when your gut knows from experience what to do. The Kings takes all of these into account. The Kings is the stage of life where you have your theory, you have your practice, you have your experience, and now you're at a point where there's mastery to the level where you can just act, because you already have this going on. You already have this under your belt, so to speak. Okay, so I think that's all I wanted to say about the court cards today. And oh, I think I wanted to cover a little bit the elements. So with the wands, for me, it's not any different than anyone else has said, I don't think. Wands are fire, wands are action. It's a fiery personality. If this is having to do with people in your life, like if it's a significator, it's a fiery individual, a passionate person, a person that is impulsive from the gut. You know what I mean? Like there's two kinds of impulsivity. There's the kind that it's just, where the person says, I can't help it. It's bigger than me. They're propelled by something larger than them. The cups is an introspective person, an emotional person. Cups can sometimes mean someone who's nurturing, but it's a bit conditional. Also, cups, the court cards, when they're cups, could be someone who's a bit of a martyr. Someone who at that point is, at the point that the card comes up to describe them, they're being a little bit of a martyr, a little bit of a people pleaser, a little bit of a, you know what I mean? But there's always like an ulterior, sometimes there's the ulterior motive where they're looking to play the victim. Sometimes they are the victim, and that's where it gets a little touchy, right? Because, victim shaming is a thing, and it's freaking full of shit. And but sometimes, depending on the context of the reading, if someone comes up as cups, I know that if I know for myself, because, well, look at the profession I'm in, right? It's like there is a little bit of masochism, anyone who goes into healthcare. And there we go, masochist, right? Cups can also be the masochist, or the archetype of the masochist. I'm speaking just plainly and bluntly here, but you guys, I hope you understand that I am a nuanced individual. Okay. And if you don't, yeah, whatever. It's like, what can I tell you? If you've been watching me for a while, you know I'm a nuanced individual. If you're watching this for the first time, well, I'm a nuanced individual. But you know what? If you have a problem with the way I express myself, you could leave your comments in the comment section below. Swords. Swords are very analytical people. Very mental. They're primarily functioning on the mental and logical plane. Absence of emotion. This is a good place to go if you find yourself wallowing in cups territory. Look, the ideal is that we as individuals are able to embody any one of these court cards at any time in our life. Like the ideal is that we travel through, so to speak, or we experience, so to speak, different aspects of ourselves through the court cards, or not through the court cards, but the court cards would represent us. Different court cards would represent us at different times is the ideal. If you're looking for personal growth but yeah, anyway, that's neither here nor there. All right, swords. So no nonsense, very analytical, could be impulsive in a different way. So whereas rods people or wands people or fire people, whether it's, your nature or just a phase in your life, it's inspiration. It's different. It's like the passion of fire and stuff like that. It's a different kind of impulsivity. It's an impulsivity of, love at first sight, and the impulsivity of I'm passionate about this thing, so I'm gonna sink thousands of dollars into this new hobby I'm passionate about, and then you have the reckoning of the pentacles. But whereas swords It's saying things. Um, I love the example that I keep for myself, because my mother was a Queen of Swords. God rest her soul. My mother could cut you down with 3 words. You know what I mean? It's really, and whether she meant to or not, it's she could quickly analyze what your weakness was, and she stuck the knife in. Okay, now I love my mother, don't get me wrong, but people are what they are, and I really admired that about her, even though it sounds terrible now as an example. I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is, I don't know what I'm trying to say. But with swords people, I wouldn't say that they're cerebral, or, you know what I mean? Anybody could be cerebral, right? We all have moments where we are any of these core cards. But swords don't take in when you're in a swords place where the swords core cards are representing you, or they're your significating you, it means that you are all in your head. And whereas, let's say the rods, you're all in your body in a sexual sense too. Like, it's that kind of passion as well. And then the pentacles is when we come back to earth, pragmatism, practicality, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the fundamental ones, right? The pentacles is where, give your head a shake. Where's your next meal coming from? Give your head a shake. You have responsibilities. People rely on you. It's that kind of place. So I'm going to stop for today because I'm not quite sure, but I suspect I've stopped making sense. But I hope that in me sharing with you my folksy, experiential knowledge here, I hope I gave you some food for thought. And please feel welcome to share yours in the comments. And wherever you are in the world, I'm wishing you a beautiful day. Bye-bye.